Curtis D.I. Wire.
DIYers, welcome here on a Wednesday morning, afternoon. Don't even know what day it is, but I do know what guest I'm sitting here in front of. Man, we got Mecc in the building. We got Mr. Mecc. We got Mecc Rashawn. How you doing, sir?
Pretty fair for a square. Happy to be here though. Don't get it fucked up.
Come on, man. A lot of people were looking forward to this. Of course, myself first and foremost, but so many folks were looking like, oh man, what's this conversation about to be about? And you and I have communication behind the scenes. It may just be casual. You see something and you'll comment on it. I'll see something you post and I follow through. But I really wanted to have an extended conversation. First, about your origin, in case you're not familiar with Mr. Mecc. But I want to make sure that we also dive into a statement and a post that you had on your Instagram talking about hip hop going back underground and just really the future of hip hop in general. If you just joined us for the first time, I'm your host, Curtis King, and this is my channel, Curtis King TV. We do a lot of independent artist stories, a lot of hip hop based stories, and then also some mainstream stuff as well. But these are the conversations I really, really look forward to. So let me go ahead and give you an introduction, and then I'm gonna let you, in your own words, describe yourself. So today, I'm joined by a hip-hop veteran, a writer, publicist, consultant, and lyricist whose pen has shaped both stories and songs in the culture. From his early days as an editor at The Source to helping form the supergroup Slaughterhouse to working alongside the legendary Busta Rhymes, Mecc Rashawn has been influencing the culture for over 20 years. First and foremost, that's what I got to say about you. In your own words, who is Mecc Rashawn?
In my own words, who are you talking about?
I'm talking about, look, you know how I know? Because you know how I know when I put this post up, it was people that we rarely talk, was like, you got Mecc coming through? Like, I know it's a certain network I have.
Mm-hmm.
Glasses, another one of those. That's like my big bro. Glasses saw that. He was like immediately engaging with it. So I think it's one of those things where you are a superhero to a lot of people behind the scenes. Because you're not always like, look at me, I think to a lot of influential people, you're influential to them. And these are the conversations that I find are the richest. So that's my introduction for you. But in your own words, sir.
I'm just a guy who loves the culture. I do what I can when I can do it, and I'm not sure. Super wild. I said one time a long time ago, I hope when people look at me, they see a guy who is trying to do the right thing, even when he wasn't sure what that was.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's pretty much how I feel about shit now. Like, I'm just out here trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Not always right. I'm definitely not always wrong. I really like being right. And
hello.
Yeah,
Mom.
I'm not even gonna hold you.
My mom's gave me a quotable for that. She says, son, you got to choose sometimes the times to be right and to be happy.
And to be happy. Like, yeah.
I tend to lean. I tend to lean a little bit too much on the right, because you want to argue your point and stand on it, but there's sometimes you got to be like, you know what, you're absolutely right.
You know what? It depends on what we're talking about. Like, there's certain things I'm willing to let go and I'm willing to concede, and it's not that big of a deal, and you can walk off and it's not that serious. But there's other things where I feel like, especially let me stop saying I feel like, there's certain situations and circumstances where I know that people are watching and the kids are listening. And if you fold now, they'll remember that you folded on this thing specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And this can't be the thing you fold on when people are watching. It doesn't have to be a lot of people. It can be two motherfuckers. But somebody's watching, this ain't the thing that you can fold on. This is the thing. Like when you go back and look at the show, you go back and watch My Expert Opinion, you see me in there beefing about Trump.
Yeah.
I could have let it go. Yeah, I didn't have to get my blood pressure all up. There's a room full of motherfuckers who did not agree with me. I could have easily backed off and been like, y'all got it. And all I could think was, if I fold up now, somebody watching this is going to be like, I guess it's not that serious. And if it is that serious, I gotta treat it that serious. Hip hop is something I treat very serious because it saved my life. It forms the way that I look at the world. I appreciate everything it's given. So that being the case, how can I fold up? How can I not protect it? How can I not, move in the best interest of this thing that has given me everything I got?
Yeah. Especially in the age of misinformation and in an age where, you could have an opinion that is so far away from any kind of hint of the truth, and
Mm.
it will take off, and you don't know whether or not those are actual human beings who are following that or if they're bots following it. I mean, it almost feels like a duty. I remember my grandmother used to always say, the more you know, the more you owe. You
Mm.
said something in a Chinatown Sound interview that I saw you did, and you said your pops gave you a quote about fear. Was I correct on that?
You have to give me the quote. He gave me a lot of joints.
It was a quote about fear and control. I got to go back. I had it written down in my other notes, but not the notes here. I'm gonna go back to it. I'll pull it up.
Yeah, when
Um,
you
yeah,
definitely
yeah,
know what he said.
yeah. I'm gonna come back to it. I was wondering if you knew it off the top because I had just watched it this morning. I was in the gym. Look, so for somebody who's worn nearly every hat in hip hop, I named off the list. Like I said, journalist, publicist, consultant, A&R, and lyricist. Which came first for you? Was it the writer or the rapper?
Breakdancing.
Breakdancing. Ah.
Breakdancing was my first element. After that, when you have to start paying for your own clothes, breakdancing gets a little harder to keep up with. And rapping came immediately after that. But writing was always something that I excelled in. I was writing at like a college level in elementary school. So
Hmm.
that talented and gifted program, I was in one of those. So that's always been rapping. I mean, of course it was going to be right there. You grow up in a house where your parents are singing, Motown and New Edition, et cetera, and music is constantly ringing off, and they're always singing the lyrics in the house of a kid who's kind of, greedy with his pen. Of course, that's the thing you pick up on. So,
Mhm.
rapping was always like it was inevitable. I like to think.
Yeah. So I got to hear you started at the Source in '99 and went on to write 8 cover stories and help form Slaughterhouse. What did that era teach you about authenticity and penmanship?
That there is no substitute for either one of those things.
Mm.
You can't fake it. You can't you can't lie about it. You can't really copy anyone. I mean, you can. I guess somebody can. In the world of AI, I guess copying and faking is par for the course. But it's gotta come from you if you want the credit for it being good.
Right,
Um,
right.
and I guess that's the integrity part. But there is no substitute for any of it. You
Yeah,
can't go around it.
can't. You can't. And as we start to approach the main conversation, I got one more question. Just really talking about the present day, Mec. How would you describe, I guess, the day to day of the work that you do today? Because I feel like when I'm following your Instagram, there's so many things that get offered. There's so many perspectives that you're given. I love the mechanisms of Mondays. I told you that's part of my regimen now. I look if you're not sitting on a timeline like this, because I've been looking at you like, oh shit, who done pissed him off today? What do we, hey, who done frustrated him today? Because he about to get off. He about to say, I just know how great the video about to be by how lean back you get. I just know it's going to be one of those. But what is the present day work that you do today? What would you say? I told you I'll be watching. You thought I was playing.
Okay, ask me that question again. I'm sorry.
I just had to do it. I do it again. What is the current
Uh,
work that you do today? Because you wear so many different hats. What would you say is like you're like dominating the majority of your time when it comes to being a music, I guess, business or music industry related?
oh, consulting for independent artists, and I mean independent 9 to 5 DIYers, literally. No, do it your DIY. Yeah, I said it right. DIYers. Consulting for them takes up a good chunk of time, but I like to make myself available for people who I know the life when that one mistake will set you back months or possible years if you spent the money in the wrong place and you made this mistake and you spent it over here and you needed to spend it over there, and now your setback is like several checks down the line till you can fix this one mistake. So I I've lived that life. I've made those same mistakes. So I like to make myself available for artists. So I have my consulting line, and I don't charge what I charge labels. I make it a point to try and work with them to don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, do this, do this. If you want me to hear a song, I can do that. What your goals are, we can hash that out. Marketing tips, branding tools, like all those things. You just kind of get the potholes out of the way. You know what I mean? The things that we can't do everything in like an hour or two, but at least I can make it so that you don't make this mistake. You don't have to learn on the job, on the fly with this mistake. That takes up a good chunk of time, but I'm happy to do it. I don't do it for free, but I am doing it like basically at cost, but I'm happy to do it. Buster is working with Busta Rhymes, being the head of A&R for Conglomerate is definitely a full scale thing because you have to keep in mind that this is an icon you're talking to and dealing with. He has not just new shit that he wants to do, but he has a legacy, and you can't go below the bar. You know what I mean? You have to keep the standards high when it comes to him. So that's definitely something that takes my focus. And now that I brought my pen out of hiatus,
come on,
my shit takes precedent over a bunch of stuff that I get. People are sending me beats and C's hollering, and there are producers who get at me, and all of this stuff looks great if this is what I'm going to do. And since I've made that decision, my pen is on like full burn. I was writing right up until the minute you hit me. Right up until 155 hit, I was like, okay, stop.
It's lightning in a bottle sometimes. Sometimes it's like, no, but I got this. I need to land this. I need to resolve this idea, and then I can move away from it. I understand it firsthand, and I think it's an amazing time period because there was a point in time where people, especially in the industry, would tell you you need to focus in on one thing, and not that it was bad advice or it came from a bad place. I think we're living in a time where you almost can't risk not laying it on the table. Like if that's something that you want to provide, if it's something that you're passionate for and something that you put your work in, you never know what doors get open because you chose to share that thing. Some people like Curtis King because of the video. Some people heard my music from way back when I was full-time artist and producer. Some people only know because of my work. With the fact of the matter is it exists, and then there's an opportunity for people to engage. So I salute you because I feel like in doing the consulting and also being the practitioner, you get to be like Phil Handy in these situations where Phil Handy's so different when he's training the players because he can get out there and be like, no, like jab step and do this. And instead of just giving them, words as instructions, I think it's so valuable to go out there and do the thing and then come back and say, that's what I was talking about.
literally just I'm finishing a record I have called I can't even give you the title yet, but I'm finished. I'll play it for you after, but I'm literally finishing a record where I talk about the fact that there are people currently mad at me. There are artists currently mad at me because they feel I abandoned them to go make this run. And my conversation to them is, well, two things. Number one, you said you could do it without me, so do it without me. Like you didn't, I didn't end our working relationship. You decided to. You figured you knew more than me, and I got tired of arguing with you about it. So rock out. Number two, Me, I'm not in your way.
Right.
I'm not in your way. I'm literally doing the thing that I told you to do. And now you're
Mm,
seeing it work and you're upset with me about it. But if that's what makes me the bad guy, then so be it.
right.
That's one section of people who are pissed at me. But Curtis, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. There was a big chunk of me that was like, maybe I should chill because my risk isn't the same as everybody else starting out. I've been a
Hmm.
professional writer, professional journalist, professional in the music industry
Mhm.
for over a decade, long time. And started as a teenager and I never stopped. So the eyes on me are different. If I fuck up, it's kind of like, see, look, nigga didn't know what he was talking about, full of shit.
See,
Both
thank you.
niggas.
Oh, I don't think you understand the monkey that just came off my back when you just said that, because I was like, am I the only one going through this? Am I the only one thinking about this? Here I am giving music critiques. And then when I cook up, I know everything is under a different kind of microscope because the
Yep,
audience is bigger. The eyes are more like, oh, are you going to do the thing you told me that I didn't do? And it's like,
yep,
they're not always connected. Like when I'm in my space, I leave myself room for mistakes, but I also
mhm.
don't rush to put them out into the public. Like I sit with them and I allow them to be there. And some people seem like they don't get the process. And it just kind of lets me know how much is probably shifted in these studios for so many artists, or home studios, if they even, commune with each other. So much of that has changed, but that's a real thing. That's interesting to hear you say that.
I'll tell you what got me past it. I remembered the fact that every artist I've ever consulted with, all of them, from the big dogs to the just coming off the porch to the just putting pen to pad for the first time, every artist I've ever rocked with
Mhm.
has needed a different kind of advice, right? What worked for Curtis King won't necessarily work the same way for Mecc Rashawn. Curtis King will have different strengths in different places. So what he's able to pull off may
Mhm.
be a struggle for Mecc Rashawn. What Mecc Rashawn is able to do in his sleep, Curtis King may have a
Mhm.
little, little friction trying to get that off. So I keep that in mind that, for everybody who comes back to me saying, I see the shit you told me to do, you can't even, yeah, bro, that was catered, that was custom tailored
For
advice.
you,
You were
and you,
supposed to wear that suit.
and you still didn't do it. Why you
Yeah,
looking at me?
you mad at me because I custom tailored you a suit and you
And it
decide
don't fit you. It don't fit you. It wasn't for me. That was for
ever, ever. That suit was never meant for me, bro. Like,
Yeah.
in the road I have to travel is quite different from most motherfuckers who are picking up the pen, with the exception of people who can relate, like a Curtis King, a
Mhm.
Rob Markman. You dig what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I start running out of names for the fingers I got. Like, there's only but so many of us who really understand moving from this space into this space, the risk that comes with it, the reward that comes with it, the
Mhm.
struggle that comes with it, the scrutiny that comes
Oh,
with it.
man.
I have to be nice. I can't be
Yeah, but that's
trash.
good. But which that's kind of a good pressure though, right? Like, I mean, not that we need the extra push
Right,
because we have
right.
a passion for this. We're first of all, we're trying to sit in these studios and impress ourselves and make sure that we stay on
Mhm.
top of our game. But I mean, when you, I guess, when you receive it from the right spirit, you receive it with the right energy. You look at that and you say, oh, so now instead of just the pressure in my head or that voice inside my prefrontal cortex, oh, I got 300,000 subscribers. It's gonna hold me to it. All right, bet. And I got people who disagree with my takes who cannot wait for me to have an off day that I share with the rest of the world. You know what? That's a healthy kind of pressure, and I'll accept it.
Die empty is the goal, bro.
Mm,
It supersedes all of that other bullshit. I
mm,
understand that people have a mission to critique or tear something down. First of all, I've never criticized any music that I wasn't asked to. Right?
same.
That's number one. I've never walked around. Go search the comments, ladies and gentlemen. Find a place where I said something was trash. Music.
Mm,
Go find a place where I said somebody's music was trash. You can't find it because I don't do it. But beyond dealing with the pressure that comes with your calling, right? There was never a way around that. Beyond dealing with the scrutiny that comes with doing anything publicly, there was never anything around, never any way around that. Bro, the plan is to die empty. I was one of the people who used to give the advice to lock in on one thing and don't do a bunch of different things, and focus on the one, because that's what I was doing. When I was at the Source, I still knew how to rap, but due to all the stuff that was happening and all the stuff that was happening with Benzino and all the scrutiny around the mics and the controversy that happened and all that stuff, I told myself, well, I'll just focus on being the best music journalist that I can be and stay away from the pen, because I don't want to have to deal with, what'll come with that. Imagine I blow up. Everybody's going to say, oh, it's only because he's I didn't want it that way, so I avoided it. Yo, bro, that's trash. That's trash.
Can I be the evil voice on the shoulder for a second?
Please.
This is when I got to introduce just to some of the most bitch ass passive aggressive rappers on earth. I didn't know that was a real avatar. The most bitch assness activity you will ever get is when someone pays for you to listen to their music and give your honest feedback, not tear it down, but give constructive feedback to do something with it. I had a gentleman recently was so angry about the way that we sat there, and because we have fun when we do a critique. We have it like how us and the fellas are like this is like we post the clown, like, dog, what was you doing on that hook? If you don't get the homegirl to go sing on that, like, what is you doing on that hook? And he went and he couldn't wait to find a video of mine and then put the LOL in small caps. I said, you old passive aggressive ass, what you really mad about right now? So, and knowing that, it made me realize, and I realized this at a very early age because I've been around rappers my entire life. I didn't realize how hypersensitive a lot of them are, and it can be a cheat code for their writing. It can be a pain in the ass to work with if you're a manager, if you're an engineer, if you're someone who has to kind of be on the receiving end of some of that. But it's a real thing. It is a real thing that I see, and I'm like, but I understand that extra pressure that's there. But at a certain point, it's like, well, that's why I'm the person that's giving the advice, because I'm prepared for that. I have the thick skin for that. So I hear you. I didn't mean to railroad your point, but I had to make sure.
Bro, listen, I can tell you, when I'm sitting with an artist, we're not laughing, we're not joking. I'm dead. I treat it like I'm in a studio session. I treat it like the label called and they secured my retainer, and I'm in here to work. My glasses are clean. My notebook is on deck. Like my pen is ready to pop.
Right.
And I'm really working, and I'm okay. What's the goal? What's the plan? What do we? I have a whole system that I work them through, and I treat them like professionals. So when I do something, that they don't get, when they see a freestyle and they hear me do something that I specifically told them not to do, right? Or I suggested another way for them to do this thing,
right?
The fire back I get is like, yo, this nigga, like, how the fuck you gonna tell me not? And then you running off and doing it. You told me not to do no freestyles publicly, and you doing like 3 or 4 of them, motherfucker. Like, yeah, bro, but my hands don't shake when I do it.
Damn. Wait a minute. Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell. For starters, let's start there. My hands don't. I don't do that weird thing where you start to shake your hands.
I told you not to do that. Finish the sentence until you get these things under control.
That part.
You don't like to memorize your shit. I told you need to have that committed to memory, because if you go live, somebody's gonna spank you. And the simplest, most basic advice is it takes like 2 or 3 turns, 4 or 5 turns before it really sinks in, and we're where we need to be with it. So it's worth it to die empty, bro.
Yeah. I heard Les Brown. No, I was gonna say Les Brown is the first person I heard say that. Is when you leave here, make sure you leave here on empty.
I'm going to the gates with nothing left. I'm dancing this dance till the DJ break out. And
Yeah.
whatever I got to do, my 1-2 gonna be on point. When I get to the gate, I'm gonna be able to look back and say, "You gave me this, and I used it. You gave me this, and I used it. You gave me that, and I used it." I don't know if you gave me that or not, but I actually put hands on it and gave it a shot. I'm not sure if that was a thing.
Put hands on. I put it. You know, I took it for a test drive. I don't know if that was what I was supposed to do, but
I might have just supposed to have been the valet for that one. But I definitely ran it around the block a couple of times before I realized that shit was out of gas, and I just, pulled it back in. But like, I'm not, again, Curtis, I told people to focus because that's what I was doing. And now I realize I was wrong. That was a mistake. You're supposed to do everything you're good at, and you're supposed to treat that shit like it's the last time you're gonna have it. And if I check out of here, knowing what I'm capable of doing, and I just didn't do it because I was worried about scrutiny that I'm designed to handle anyway.
Painful.
The fuck is that? Who does that?
I can't describe for you anything scarier than that. Even death itself is untapped potential. That's something else Les Brown used to say was the graveyards are the richest places you'll find on earth, full of ideas that never got launched, songs that never got written, books that never got written, speeches that were never told. And so many people leave with all their gifts and they get buried with them. That's something that I look at and I'm like, you when you go this route, it's inevitable. You're going to look silly until you're not silly. You're going to look stupid until you are knowledgeable and not stupid no more. And I think that the rewards absolutely go to the people bold enough to walk in that. Can we get into this conversation? Because, man, I know you got some great insight. And I've been hold on. Mechanism Monday. Something I gotta say to y'all. You be cracking me up, bro. I swear, I be sitting there like, oh shit, he about to cook somebody today. A recent article pointed out that rap fell out of the Billboard top 40 for the first time since the 90s. From your perspective, what does that signal? A problem or a progression?
No, it's definitely inevitable.
Why is that?
Because again, I'm just going to be repeating a lot of what I said in Mechanism Monday. Number one, hip hop rap itself has always been treated like a stepchild. We've always been the reluctant guest at dinner. It's like you got to invite him because he brings the most food, but you don't really want him at the table. You barely want him in the house. Wow. And that's kind of what it's always felt like. And the fact that we wanted that acceptance, we wanted to be invited, which makes perfect sense. I'm not hating on previous generations. You want, with visibility, you want credit. Look, we doing everything they doing. How come they get this and we get that? That's natural. That's natural. However, some of us, sold the gold to get the silver. You traded, you didn't understand what you had, and you traded it for something that looks shinier, and now turn around and it's super valuable, and you realize you went the wrong route. Not everybody, but some of us definitely did. And us not being on the Billboard top 40, well, number one, record labels are collapsing under their own weight. The apathy that they showed for the music and the people that they went and signed and the kind of artists they wanted to make pop, the greed bled through. The fact that you ran to TikTok and used that as an A&R, you wanted, what was hot right now and not what was going to be sustainable in the future. So you built a structure around artists that could have 10, 20, 30-year legacies. That's what the structure is built on. And then you took that same structure and tried to redesign it around artists that would be hot for 10, 20, 30 days.
Or even people who don't even identify as artists. They see themselves as content creator first, and that's not any diss to them. They'll tell you themselves, like, I did this because my audience wanted to see me take a shot at it.
Yeah.
But my question to that very point that you're making, because I've said that many times on this channel, I heard an actor, somebody who's an actor, he compared it to, imagine if instead of like the Denzel Washingtons, the Al Pacinos, what if you had just TikTok skit writers and you had them as the only collection of artists that you are actors and actresses that you pulled from? Yeah, they're great at what they do on the platform they do it on, but they're not the seasoned actors that we go pay the money to go see inside these theaters and people write these scripts for. He said the quality of every movie would go down because of that. He said, now think about the music industry and think about these execs, these labels, these entities who went and signed someone who went viral one or two times doing music, and they've never done a show. They never had the character building hole in the wall shows. They don't have studio etiquette, and they put them right there on the Rolling Loud stage. I saw that happen where the person himself said, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing on there, but I'm excited to go do this show. And I know y'all going to show up with me. Just much love. Thank y'all for making a dream come true. That ain't even your dream. What would possess them to do that in your opinion? Because I think when I think of that, I'm like, that sounds like self-sabotage.
People, Curtis, we're in the age where we've seen millions of people vote against their own best interests. Greed has a short vision, a short amount of sight. Like they can't see to the end, see past the end of a dollar.
Right.
And we're talking about people again who have basically no respect for artistic merit, artistic integrity, or art in itself if it's not a means to making money. And while that serves a purpose in certain regard, if those are the only people you have in charge making the calls, if you've pigeonholed the A&Rs to the point where they can only sign what's going to move the algorithm immediately, then this is where you end up. This is how it happens. This is where you're going to be. Greed always cuts off its own foot to spite the run, because it's cheaper. It'll be cheaper to go if I don't have to buy shoes. So I'm going to cut off both my feet. And now it takes you that much, and you're stumbling, and you can't really get where you're trying to go. All right, then. I'm going to save money on gloves by cutting off all my fingers, but now I can't pick up the spoon and eat. That's greed. Greed is on that kind of time. And we have the music industry being run by tech bros, by people who are pure analytics. There's no soul. It's all hardware. And that being the case, you end up here with really bad music that doesn't last the test of time, that fades out in a week with artists.
We got to do that.
Artists. I don't even want to call them rappers because that's a bad rep for rappers. But you have artists who are reluctant to be artists, who refer to what they're doing. They recognize it as a hustle. One of my main rules with artists I work with, if you refer to your music as this rap shit, I'm going to treat it that way. You're just doing this rap shit to
see, and right there, that I love that you said that, because to me it echoes or it amplifies the power of the tongue, the power of words, and the things that we say. There's a lot of things that are like rap cliches that we've said, like, oh yeah, he's been on this rap shit lately. Like we say that in such casual tones and not realizing the kind of thoughts is reinforcing in ourselves and the people around us. When you say something over and over again into the mirror, they call that a mantra. What happens when you say it over and over again in conversation? It becomes a subconscious mantra at some level, I believe. But I mean, I think that's a great rule. Like, I don't like working with people who purely refer to it as a hustle or a grind. And there's no artistic value. Like at some level, are you connected with the art, or is this merely a means to an end? If that's what it is, I respect your honesty. I just can't work with you on that because the advice I'm going to give you is going to require you to dive deeper into your why, and you're not at that place right now because your why is very surface level, right? So that's an excellent rule before engaging in these conversations with them.
I work with them across the board. I work with anybody who's pulling up because that's the job, right? I've walked in the labels and I've asked them, "What's the goal?
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing? What do you want out of this? How do you want to see? How do you see this going?" And depending on what that is, and I ask the same thing with the artists who pop up on me. They hit the email like, "Okay, as soon as we get everything squared away and we're face to face, okay, what do you want? How do you want it? How do you see this going? Word, okay. Here's the best way I see for you to get there, and your why is up to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether I'm excited or not about it, or whether I'm whether I'm gonna promote it on my own time, totally different from me working with you. And the people who I promote and push, you hear me mention a lot of names of people that I've actually worked with, or just people who I'm a fan of and I've discovered. But that all depends on your why.
Yeah.
I'm all about furthering. I'm not quite sure how to say this. I haven't come up with a term for this yet, but I'm all about furthering and pushing forward my personal cloth, my fellow believers, my fellow classmen, like the dudes who I look at my peers to an extent, right? And I think every rapper should do that. If you into the trap shit and there are other trap rappers and that's on your vibe, then you should be pushing that. If you're about the pen and you're about lyricism and the highest level of that, you should be pushing that. And I know where I fall, so I know what I want the best for my team.
Yeah.
I'm a Knicks fan. I want the Knicks to win. If I look at you and you're on my team and I see another, you could be wearing a bright red LA Dodgers hat with the LA upside down, and
I don't know what you're talking about. That's crazy.
That nigga is on my team too. So let me go ahead and holler and hey, there's one of my teammates right there, Mickey Fax. Oh, hey, he's on my team.
Shout out to
Mickey. Another one of my guys. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we know each other when we get around each other. We all know it.
Yeah.
What's understood don't need to be said, but sometimes it's nice to be heard. So
I'll tell you this. Can't nobody ever deny your loyalty. First and foremost, as a Knicks fan, because that's oof.
Here we go.
I'm just saying, man. You see how I sandwiched that compliment as a Knicks fan. Your level of loyalty, can't nobody ever do. Anybody, look, that's my team, and I'm sticking with them. I saw a term today when I was getting ready.
The Yankees fan too, Curtis. Take it easy.
You're right. Sure, you're right. I saw a term today, and it's linked to another term that I saw a lot of like racist right-wing folks, black fatigue. We've transitioned it to rap fatigue is something I heard about. I said, what the hell is rap fatigue? I saw Comedy Hype do a story about it. I haven't watched the story yet. I'm curious. Do you think the sound of mainstream rap lost touch with the everyday listener? Or are we just seeing the culture return to the underground where it started? Do you think that's anyhow related?
No, not necessarily. If I'm hearing the question right, not necessarily. I think hip hop and rap have been functioning under the same roof but in two different rooms for a long time.
Sure.
And I think rap was in the living room where everybody could see it, and hip hop was in like an upstairs bedroom or an attic or even a basement, more appropriate, maybe a basement, decked out basement, but it was a basement nonetheless, and not everybody could get down there, right? And I think rap at a time just became too accessible. Too many people were able to walk into the living room and take whatever they wanted off the table and leave the rest, and walk in and act like they were always there. And then when the room got a little less sexy, they were able to transition to another room in the house, or maybe even outside of that house completely. But I think hip hop in the basement or hip hop in the attic had always been there.
Mm-hmm.
I think what you saw largely was determined by who came in the house and what they wanted. Most have said hip hop is going to go as the people go. So if what people are we talking about? Don't forget the audience has a huge amount of accountability to take when it comes to this, because you were choosing that shit. Even though hip hop was always very available and right there for you, you chose this. And if it framed your life and it fit your narrative and it inspired you or empowered you, then God bless it. I'm not mad at none of it. Have it. However, from the sales, which is kind of done by design, the powers that be made it so that this really isn't a valuable thing anymore. It's not something that you can hold in your hands. And I'm a firm believer myself that when you take the tangibility out of something precious, it stops becoming something precious.
When you take the tangibility out of something precious, what was it? Was the second part of that? It
becoming precious.
Stops becoming precious. Break that down for me.
Gladly. You know what? Hold on. You know what? I think I need a visual aid for this.
No, you're good. You're good. And by the way, DIY is in the building. You enjoying the conversation? Make sure you hit the like button on the way in.
Okay. Jay-Z's first album is called Reasonable Doubt.
Right.
I have this in my hand right now.
Yeah.
It's not even the only one I have, right? But I got this. I have something tangible in my hands. Right. This is not ones and zeros. This is an actual living. It makes noise. This is a thing. You dig? I think, I know that as music has transitioned and technology has turned it from this into this, we've lost the value of it. The audience, the kids who we've entrusted to take this thing further, they lose the value of it. It's now just something that anyone can do because it literally lives anywhere. It was different when you had to go to the studio and make it. Now you can do it in your house, and at every step you lose quality control because now you have people doing it who have no idea what it takes to make it good. Yeah. So, and unfortunately, when you go to tell them, hey, listen, this sounds really off. I'm not hearing the mid is way too, and this is, I don't care about none of that shit.
Wait, you don't want to listen to the professional? The professional is telling you how to make it better. And you're like,
because they don't care about making it better. They care about being famous. They don't care about being good. They want to be famous more than they want to be good. They want recognition more than they want to be dope. And my class, my team, it was the other way around. We wanted to be dope and then be famous for being dope. We wanted to be dope first. There was never a point in any of these guys' minds where it was like, fuck it, I just need to put it out because this is really just a transition for me to do a bunch of other shit and live a way that I want to live. And I never got girls growing up, so now girls like me because I'm famous. So that's really all I want, is to be famous and on and popping. And then I'll use this to open up a trucking business and maintain a lifestyle. But meanwhile, there's somebody with a pen and pad writing the best shit ever because they want to be good more than they want to be famous. They want to be dope. They want 10, 20, 30 years from now, they want to be dope. They're even if the why is just to compete with other people who are dope. You dig what I mean? Those, like you said earlier, the why is very important, but it goes so far and so fast. The audience's why counts too.
Yeah.
So I've circled all the way back around. I believe that commercializing something artistic, you will always end up taking some kind of a hit, but that doesn't mean the art went away. The artistic thing went away. Hip hop was a culture before it was a commercial vehicle, and I don't think that's ever left. I'm living proof. I've never left. I didn't die. Last time I checked, I was still here, and there's a bunch of me running around here.
And people make it sound like it's impossible to find. Oh my God, I gotta go. It's so hard to find good music. And I'm like, you trying to tell me if I ask you a historical question, you have access on your phone. You don't have to even go to Google. You could just say, hey, Siri, and let her do the rest of the work, or Chat GPT. We're living in that time, and you're telling me you can't find the art? And it's not hard to find, because I feel like that's why that statement resonates so much with me, that the one you posted on your Instagram about, hip hop is going back underground. And I think for some people that sounds terrifying. For other people, it's almost like, remember the movie Demolition Man?
Mm-hmm.
Remember the folks that was underneath the sewers. Mm-hmm. Remember when I don't know if it's Officer Connor, whatever he was, when he came back, he was like, now this feels like real life again. When he went down there, he had the street hot dogs. I think for a lot of us, it's that, where it's like we're not so bougie we can't get our hands dirty. What do you mean you don't want to work on your craft anymore? What do you mean you got to just put music out because you need some content for the day? Because no disrespect to Gary Vee, but he told you that you do content daily. It's just the why is so warped. And what I found in my experience is that you really get to see the quality of your why when you start going through hell, when you start going through struggle, because at that point in time, that's your only life source. That's your gas to move out of this situation, because you're remembering, all right. We've been here before. We're maneuvering these waters, but we're doing this because I know the bigger purpose on the other end. But I imagine, I put up a post the other day saying that folks who support lyricists, and I don't mean just, I want to get in this conversation soon, but not just folks who are playing the role of lyricists, but like actual writers who take their time, they're saying something, they have content, they're checking off all the boxes, they care, they love this, they're passionate about it. I can't imagine, right? I see myself as a lyricist, but I'm around so many. Like I worked at Quiznos with Daylight, and I used to go to the dish shop in the same city where Ab-Soul worked at. I've been around lyricists my entire life. So I look, when the bar that I set when I'm writing, I'm looking at those dudes as like, they're brilliant. They're the best pens I know. So with that said, I can't imagine how frustrating it has been over some of these years when everybody around them is telling them, I think it'd be a lot better for you if you just dumb down that little thing that you're doing. Like just dumb it down. And I just think to myself, can you imagine going back in James Baldwin's era and saying, can we you ever thought about dumbing down some of this poetry that you're doing and like really just trying to really make an impact? Hey Basquiat, you ever thought about less crowns, make them a little bit more straight? What are we talking about right now? So I made that comment saying that in this age of anti-intellectualism and this age of brain rot takes and all of this, it's one of them things where I'm like, you got to really appreciate them folks, because they're doing it. And the only incentive is the thing you just said, which is, I want to be the dopest I can be. I want to be great. Like, this is not enough for me. I want to be great.
I promise you, in Baldwin's time, somebody said that too.
For sure.
I promise you, in Basquiat's time, somebody said that too. It's just a matter of how many people said it, how loud they were, and the resolve of the person that they're talking to. But I promise somebody said it. Somebody said it to everyone at every point. And the most insidious part of the person saying it is that they really want what's best for the person they're saying it to.
Yeah, true. Right. You're right.
That's what makes it difficult. That's what makes it insidious. The people who step to me talking about, yo, if you just did it this way, you'd be where such and such is. You'd be where such, for even my journalism days. Like, yo, if you just, kind of did it like this, you just kind of move this way, you'd be like such and such. And they're right. They're not lying. They're right.
Not wrong all the time.
No,
they're not
wrong at all. They're 100% right. Can I live with myself if I did that? Would I be able to look myself in the mirror if I did that? Probably not. But that's me knowing me and knowing what I'm here for and knowing what I want out of it. So my why becomes more important than theirs.
Yeah. How dare you choose integrity? Like, who does that in 2025? We trying to go viral. You know what I'm saying? Like 6'7". We trying to do all whatever we trying, like, what are we doing? What are we doing right now? You talking about integrity? Oh
Yeah.
man, these two unks having a conversation about integrity. You might trying to hear that, man. Let me know how I can go viral tonight. So how would you
Easy. Get butt naked, run in the middle of the street, stick your dick in the muffler of a Tesla. Figure out how to do that, and you will go viral. I promise you.
You know what's crazy about that? There's gonna be somebody who looks at that and says, I think you could have went a little harder. Like that's the no pun intended. Somebody would see that and be like, bro's a tryhard. Like, no matter what you do, the bar has been lowered so low.
Drop kick a cop, while you butt ass naked,
right,
in some bright yellow Timberland boots. Like, go ahead,
yellow.
Drop kick the shit out of him.
Oh,
and
man.
Then get up and spit your dopest hook, and I promise you'll go viral.
You will go viral. You will go viral. Oh my gosh!
Can you live with yourself when it's all said and done? Can you?
I cannot.
Is that what you want? And a lot of them can. Yeah. Because they're not here to be good. They're here to be famous. I can't stress that enough. Their why is fame, and that justifies everything that happens. Because especially in a world where integrity is an afterthought and attention is the new currency, bro. Fame and infamy are one and the same. It doesn't matter. Which is why we know so much drama about our favorite rappers, and we don't know any of their bars.
Damn. Hey, yikes. Slight forecast of gems today, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you get your umbrellas. Slight forecast of gems today. Look, speaking of that, can we get some more specifics? What does it look like in a world where hip hop goes back? Well, I should preface this. I think you said hip hop on that post, like that post that you put up. I want to see if I can find the exact words, but the premise of it, or the underlying message, was that hip hop is going back underground. What does that look like specifically to you?
I'm seeing a world where, okay, perfect. Have you ever been like walking past a venue, fairly large size venue, let's say 1,000, 2,000 people capacity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not a stadium, not some big mega house, but like 2,000, 3,000 people. And you walk past and you see a line of people waiting to get in.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, what the fuck is it? And you look up at the marquee and it's a name that you've never heard before.
Yeah.
But there's a line of people ready to see whoever this is, this person you've never heard before. It looks like that. It's going to look a lot like that.
Yeah.
It's going to look a lot like that. People really being entertained by real live showmen and showmen and women whose goal is still to be dope. First, second, third, fourth, and fifth. And they are being entertained by people who know how to find them and people who have a desire to tap in with real shit. And that's not going to be everybody, which is what I think shakes up the mainstream crowd and the industry crowd, because there was a time, and thankfully I have hands and memory, and I have attachments long enough to remember that there was a time when hip hop wasn't everywhere. You literally had to know where to go to find it. Somebody had to tell you, and they just weren't telling everybody. It wasn't like that.
For a reason. To me, it's the positive gatekeeping, right? There's a negative connotation attached to gatekeeping, but then there's also would you build a house that you got all your stuff in and not lock the doors?
Yeah,
you got all your, like it's your home. If it's that valuable as you say it is something that for generations and generations can enrich generations. Would you not place a fence around that house? So to a certain degree, gatekeeping has a positive connotation also that I think a lot of people miss out on.
That's because again, this is one of those things where we need to take accountability for how we got down. We let certain people in. We let certain people take the role of gatekeepers who were really just industry heads.
Mm.
They were really just industry heads. They weren't gate. They didn't care about the culture. They cared about the bread, and they convinced you somewhere along the line that the culture was secondary, maybe not even secondary, to the bread. The money justified everything that they were doing. They weren't really gatekeeping. They should have turned in that card when they decided that hustle should be rewarded more than talent, and whatever made money was okay and acceptable as long as it made a certain amount of money. Those people should have turned in their gatekeeper card, because gatekeeping was done for cultural purposes. That's a real gatekeeper, not an industry head, which is somebody who happens to have access, who can put you onto this, put you onto that, put you in contact. And don't get me wrong, the Venn diagram will have, like, there are people who are, firmly in the middle, like industry head, cultural gatekeeping. There are people who fit both bills.
Yeah.
Fuck, I fit both bills. Like, you know what I mean? That
Yeah.
you can
See
you
that.
can live. Yeah.
Real quick, I was gonna say that's part of the reason why I one of my OGs had to have a conversation with me, because at one point in time I was on my like, F the industry, we independent, we gonna figure this out. They trying to play us. I was on my extreme, but then I started to think about like the people that I actually met, not the villain version, not the one we make up in our head, but the people that I met that weren't so black and white. The ones who were like treacherous and evil, they made they had no qualms about it. They were very transparent. They let me know, yeah, we in here we operate by a whole nother game. But there were so many people that I met that was like, thank God you were at the gate. Thank God you were at the door to let me know what they doing on the other side over here.
Right.
And you better be prepared for what's going on, because there are people like that who, like yourself, who are you gonna keep it, a whole stack with the people that you're talking to, but at the same time, it's like, look, if this is the route that you want to go, here's the game plan, because I know it well.
Mm-hmm. If you're willing to listen, which turns into a whole different. That's a whole different conversation. Working with artists too. That's a whole different conversation.
I'm pretty sure we can do a whole 2 hours on that one. Because you know what? Part of the work you do such valuable work in so many capacities, but part of the work I think you're doing also, once again, I keep stressing, you being the practitioner, is when you're able to do the thing and show my network is different, my results are different, because of that very thing that you've been avoiding, whether it's the work that you put in, whether it's the patience, whether it's the self-building that you're asking them to do. One of my best managers I ever had told me, he said, because my life was in turmoil at the time, he said, before I work with you on music, we got to get the personal life together first.
Okay.
Unheard of, right? Because most, if you got something for them to manage and make money off of, they don't really dive into other. But when he said that, it showed me that there can be a structure and an ethical way to approach that. And it was the best thing to do, because it ended up putting me in a place where now when I'm getting this advice, it's not coming from an emotional place or a defensive place or, a distracted place because of all the bullshit I got going on in my life. It was a way to kind of center things before I get there, but not every artist, I think, gets the opportunity to balance it like that.
If you don't know that you need this thing in order to do that thing, you'll never go looking for this thing. Most of us don't know what we don't know, and you'll assume that because if I told you you needed shoelaces in order to run this marathon, right, and everybody else kept telling you, so fuck shoelaces. Who the fuck even thinks about shoes? Like, I'm thinking about the finish line.
Right.
Nothing about shoes. Fuck shoes. And you telling them, bro, if you don't have these shoelaces, you won't make it to the finish line. And all they see when they look on their phones are people who are already at the finish line. And nobody shows their feet. Then they don't know that they need shoelaces. Same thing with the personal life, the the equilibrium, the work-life balance, the why behind so many things. And you got to know yourself. Like, are you here for a good time or a long time? Be honest with yourself. Maybe you're just here for a good time, and we can get that done too. But if you want to be here for a long time, you can't go the same way as somebody who's here for a good time. But all you see is people at the finish line, and you don't know their why. They could just be here for a good time, and maybe their results are what you're after, but you wouldn't do what they had to do in order to get to that finish line.
At all.
Okay, so now what?
Yeah.
Now what? Because the person whose results you want did some shit that you really don't want it. That you don't want to do that.
Right.
And me standing in front of the gate, I'm like, okay, I mean, sure, but
it's like somebody going to NBA and saying, you know, I want to change the game and I just don't want to dribble.
That's exactly what it's like.
I mean, yeah, technically you could be a power forward center who just posts up and you pass the ball, but you're never going to dribble at all. Even Dennis Rodman dribbled. He didn't dribble. It wasn't the most.
I saw Dennis Rodman hit a three. Like, nigga, you don't have to.
The ugliest three you'll ever see. The ugliest three you ever see. But it went in.
It went in.
He looked at us with the same face we had when he threw it up in the air. And it was like, went in.
Oh, shit. Look what I did. Yes, nigga, but there's two. If Dennis Rodman was wearing his blazer as like one of the top 50 players of all time, and his highlight reel just showed different angles of him hitting that three, everybody would think that they could do exactly what he did. Yeah. Right? And that's the problem. Most of these rappers, most of these entertainers, their highlight reel doesn't show you, the road to the win. It only shows the highlights.
Only shows the highlights. Yeah.
And you're comparing your everyday life to someone's highlight reel, bro. That's never going to even out. And they're not going to tell you the unsexy part of the job. They'll show you the studio. They'll show you the stage.
Yeah. Well, to your point, how many times do you forget things that have happened where somebody has to remind you, almost to be humbling, to where it's like, remember that one time we had to scrap some change to da-da-da-da. Like, I have so many of those stories that I think it's either PTSD or it's a part of my brain that's like compartmentalizing and saying, well, let's focus on the main thing now. But you end up forgetting to the point where the valuable things you're talking about that could help somebody who doesn't understand how many steps this really is. Like, if I knew myself when I was younger how long this would be, I might have doubts about going forward. But then there's another part of me that says, no, hell yeah, we would have went this. We would have buckled up and just knew how long this thing would have took.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how to do anything else.
Same.
I don't want to do anything else. I only know how to be who I am. Now, the good thing is I am exactly who I think I am.
Yeah.
But that's the only person I've ever known how to be. So whatever comes with it, oh well.
Yeah. I will accept those responsibilities with it. Can I bring this topic to you because you said you got some interesting thoughts on this one? Because in the spirit of hip hop going back underground, I started to think as I'm having these conversations online, I started to think about conversations and debates I used to have at shows coming up as an artist, and how frustrating even small things like the way that one rapper describes a metaphor versus the other one describing a simile. They don't know they're describing very, very different things, like just terminology disconnection, but then also too the subjective nature of music in general about what is great lyricism versus what is impactful lyricism. There's so many debates that are coming back to me full force as I'm looking at this era where people are hyper focused on all of the amazing lyrical displays we've seen, especially within the last year. I made this statement, right? Because Marco Plus said, I wish that niggas would understand that whack rappers come in the form of lyricists too. And I retweeted it and I gave my 2 cents in that. I've always had this theory, and it's funny. I shared it in my interview with Punch, but I felt like I say the statement. Facts. Many self-righteous lyricists and rap purists think multi-syllable rhyming and boom bap beats alone equals meaning. In reality, they have a lot more in common with mumble rappers than they think. They both practice word salads that lack cohesive narratives. And they all came out the woodworks. How dare you, Curtis? I thought you were for us. I am for us, but I want to make sure that as everything goes back home, we all recognize and take accountability for our own contradictions in this. And I think that there are people out here that exist who are, shout out to my guy, Read My Soul, who would say they're reheating old French fries. And they're saying that's that hip hop shit. And they've added nothing to the evolution. They've added nothing to the evolving conversation. They're just merely doing an impersonation of something. And in that time, that would have been something that people would have looked down upon. Like, how you biting? Are you biting somebody else's style? So I'm curious to your thoughts zoomed out on that, because you said you had some thoughts when you saw it. Oh, let me get Mechanism Monday. Let's talk about this Curtis King tweet right here real quick. Oh, don't cook me. Don't cook me. I know that look very well. Oh, here we go.
It's not going to be what you think it is, because you have a point. Sorry, not sorry. You have a point. But I also believe that intent matters. Sure. I think you have to meet people where they are. I think there are going to be people who understand that if you don't know anything other than McDonald's, right, and you happen to look over and somebody is eating something 5-star, you don't know how to make the 5-star, but you definitely know that you want something different than this McDonald's.
Sure.
Right. You don't understand that, food has changed and grown, and there's different ingredients and spices and textures and colors and taste. All this fly shit has been happening, but you've just been eating McDonald's. Now, again, I think people in general know when they're doing something that's not healthy. Right? Mm-hmm. Same thing over in hip hop. I think there are a lot of people who may have some artistic talent, who definitely have maybe more drive than talent. Maybe they have more desire than they have talent for now, because talent can grow. But, maybe for right now, this is where they are. And it doesn't mean that they won't get better, but I think the critique is warranted, bro. If you're reheating old French fries, if you're out here just running it back because, then yes, you should be called out, and you shouldn't be ashamed of being called out about that. And here's another reason why: because you might be standing next to somebody who's doing the exact same thing you're doing, but their why is completely different. What if you're standing next to somebody who's literally just riding a wave and jumping on the dick because now this looks like the new thing, and they're just a new form of hype beast?
That's my point.
You can't tell you from them, because they're doing all the same shit you're doing, and they're rapping the same way you're rapping, but they want to be famous more than they want to be good. You shouldn't want to be like that guy. You should be doing things to separate yourself from that guy at every turn. Meanwhile, he's really just creating these word salads and looking to get on and be famous and transition into acting, or transition into a liquor brand, or transition into a clothing line. He's the exact same guy with a new set of clothes on, but you don't want to be compared to him. So the critique, I won't even call it a call out, but the critique is warranted and needed. Bro, if I ever got stagnant, I'd want somebody to tell me.
Please. Well, that's to me, that's what that makes the most sense. If you're somebody who is dedicated to progression, and people with a strong why, the layer of hypersensitivity, like you get off of it, you get away from that, because you realize, look, I have a goal to get to the best, whatever possible, by any means. Don't lie to me. The worst thing you could do is the worst thing I can say for anybody who's a friend of somebody who makes music is they play you a record and you be like, I like the beat. I like your voice on it. Like, say the thing. Say the thing. I don't know much about music, but damn it, like this is just not connecting with me. You don't sound like your normal self. These things are so valuable to people who are looking for those gems. I'm one of those. You're one of those. And I think that's what makes you so amazing at what you do. And all the things that you do is that people value that type of self-awareness, that type of dedication to evolution. And that's the thing about it. I started realizing that's what we used to call spiritual miracle rappers. It wasn't the fact that they were rapping a certain way. It was that was part of it, but it was the fact that what are you really saying in that word salad? And if I ask you to break that down, do you even know the conspiracy that you pushing right now? Or are you just pushing it because your favorite rapper's Immortal Technique? And shout out to the legend. But like, let's give like I would listen to folks, and I could like you my English teacher used to say, if you take from two sources, that's called research. You take from one source, that's plagiarism. I think of artists in the same way, and that they're so married to their influence, and you can see it right when they open their mouth, like, oh boy, this man has been listening to a lot of Kendrick, haven't you? Or whoever the artist is, you can tell. And I'm like, to me, you can't be on this elitist pedestal and look down on somebody else because they're following the same trends as each other, when you yourself, like you said, in a pursuit to be famous and to be socially accepted by your peers, you're willing to play the role, wear the costume. And I think also another thing that gets talked about is the dangerous part of this is that's how you allow colonizers to get back in the room again. Because they look and sound the role.
Yep.
If we going back underground, gatekeeping got to be stronger than ever. And you got to look at folks and be like, it's not even just a race thing. It's a matter of like, where's your heart at? And how dedicated are you to this? Because you can tell in the first few seconds somebody talking about this, whether or not they're going to be here for the long haul to do better. So that's where the real root of that came from.
We know each other when we see, I say it all the time, we know each other when we see each other. It's not a mystery. And like you say, there are people wearing the costumes. But there always have been. That's not new. There always have been. In the Baldwin time, in the Basquiat time, in the Beethoven time, there were people who put the costumes on and ran around. Somehow, some way, hip-hop thought that they were immune to it. That's not the case. There are some people, this is purely social. They didn't have an element. And that's cool if you didn't have an element. I'm not shitting on people who didn't have an element. Maybe you just really enjoyed the fellowship, the art, everybody who visits a gallery isn't a painter. We don't require someone to take piano lessons in order to sit in on an orchestra or a symphony, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying everybody has to be involved, but we know the frauds. We can see them. We hear the shit that comes out of their mouth. We know them when it's easy for me to, that's you're right. Again, you have a point. I wasn't mad at it when I saw it.
Why you leave me on the cliffhanger before this then? Why you leave me on the cliffhanger before this conversation? Because you was like, I have my thoughts, Curtis. I said, oh.
because I'm also aware that that some people are gonna get angry, but these are people I really don't care that much about, bro. Like if that shoe fits, if that shoe fits, you and I are not walking in the same club. We're not going in the same place.
These are not words that should activate you. These are words that should make you nod your head and say, I know exactly the avatar you're talking about. That I just seen somebody or I talked to somebody. Because I don't care if you put it behind a boom bap beat and you go on Rhyme Zone and you dive into all the rhyming words to make it sound like you're saying something. You can't put a bow tie on bullshit.
You can, but it doesn't change it. It's still bullshit. It's still bullshit.
You can, but that smell ain't gonna go away because you put the bow tie on it. And you know what? In doing my music critiques, that's something I was always like a little bit, just being an ally to artists. I was always a little bit hesitant to like give that critique because just your words and you're entitled to your story. But I never forget, there was one artist that sent something in, and I stopped it halfway through. I said, Nick, what are you talking about on this song? And he sat there in the comments and was like, you gotta like really open up your other eye for this one, Curtis. Like you gotta really like be tapped in. Explain it. What does this line mean right here? He couldn't explain it. And it dawned on me. I said, oh, so you just said, yeah, on Halloween, I don't really be dressing up like the police. But on Halloween, I do dress up like a Ninja Turtle. I still dress up. Well, you still playing a role. You are still playing a role. You just chose a different route to go about it. And you want the same kind of admiration, or even not even admiration. You want the same kind of love from your peers that the trap rapper that's in this space wants. But the elitist part is the part that I think that I've realized. I'm like, that's crazy. That I mean, that's where the term purist comes from to a certain degree too. But yeah, that was my thoughts. That's my thoughts. I was getting ready. I thought you was gonna give me a counter argument that I was going to sit here and think about for a second.
Nah, so I'm sorry to scare you, but
hey.
There are 100% a bunch of people running around wearing the costume, and that's that. Okay, let me bust your brain with this. In the mumble rap, trap rap, whatever other kind of rap you want to call, there are those two.
Mm-hmm.
They have those two. They have the hype beast too. They're a hype beast in every circle, every section of the art, every section, every circle of creativity. There are the hype beasts who are literally just putting on the costume. Mm-hmm. I got a homeboy of mine. Here's another one. I got a homeboy of mine who had to be one of the dopest MCs I had ever heard. Like, he just did shit that didn't make any sense, and he did it so casually. He used to fuck us all up, and like we were working, and like he wanted to get a deal, and he wanted to be on like everybody else at the time. It wasn't mad at him, but here's the thing: he got like this side gig, still in the industry, and it turned into a big gig. And all of a sudden, he was living the exact lifestyle of the rappers that he wanted to emulate, the rappers he wanted to be like. He stopped rapping.
Wow.
He was gifted. He was dope as fuck. He stopped rapping. Why? Because his why was never to be good. His why was the lifestyle. His why was to be rich and famous, or at least look like you're rich and famous, and be on the video shoots, and be surrounded by the girls, and be in the restaurants, and drive the cars. That was his why. Now, is he a hype beast, even though he was talented, like really, really talented?
Right.
What is he? Because the second he got a chance to live the lifestyle, it was more important than the art.
You know what's scary about that? There's a number for that. There's a dollar amount for that human phenomenon. I don't know if you ever heard of this study where I think it might have been Stanford. They wanted to do a study of what amount of money would basically be enough for a human being before they start to spend their money on other things, and their priorities shift entirely. Before they start buying toys, like they don't need the money. Like, what is the money that you need, and then you're good. And the number is $50,000 at the time. It's probably shifted somewhat now with the economy we're in, but it was $50,000. And they said that for the majority of people who come from impoverished situations where you're only making less than $10,000 a year, less than $20,000, that jump that you do to $50,000 pretty much takes care of all of your basic needs, right? You're paying your rent, you're taking care of your car. As long as you're not living above your means, once that's taken care of, the kind of purchases you make are now about keeping up with the Joneses. They're now about buying things that are not necessarily a necessity. You've gotten out of that space, that danger space where you couldn't afford toilet paper and things like that. $50,000 was that number. And I thought about it and I said, that happened to me. It happened to me when I got into the space of YouTube and I started doing well, and I started realizing, I was like, wait a minute. Was this what it was all for? Like, this is it. I'm not ungrateful, but is this it? Because if this is it, I better start searching for bigger goals, because I am no longer in a situation where I am wondering where my next meal is going to come from. The next transaction, whatever, the next show, the next PayPal transaction. I'm no longer doing things just for money in terms of like making beats for people just for money. I'm good. And that was one of the most scariest things to be in, because it's like, if you don't set up another thing after that, you will very well give up on everything that you worked on beforehand, rapping, producing, dancing, whatever it is, because now you finally got out of that the struggle phase. But it was a really interesting study that I saw there that insane.
Well, Curtis, I think where you have to, where what separates you from someone else or the kind of people we're talking about is the fact that you even stop to ask yourself that question.
Yeah.
A lot of them won't. A lot of these people we're talking about, they're not going to stop and ask themselves that. They're going to find something else to buy. They're going to find another trip to take. They're going to find another shirt to wear, another belt to get, another sneakers to order. They start filling up their lives with stuff.
Right.
Or until they find their why, because I believe everybody has to find one. Like you might be ill at crocheting. You might be ill at making skateboard decks. Maybe the thing that you're ill at isn't sexy, isn't famous, isn't popular. Maybe you're really dope at producing shows or networking, or there's something out there. Maybe you're a tailor and you just don't know it. But again, once you get out of that, when the money allows you to explore a side of yourself and you don't know yourself that well, you just fill it up with stuff. It's all about distraction at that point. Just what can distract you. And I think there's a lot of folks like that. In and out of hip hop. I don't even think that's an art thing. I think that's a life thing.
Yeah.
That's just I think we all have something we're really, really dope at. We all have a calling, but but you have to be able to hear through the noise. And this world is noisy as
so fuck. Noisy. Good God.
It does not want to give you a chance to sit still and hear yourself. I know major artists who can't sit still, can't sit in silence because the voices inside their head need to be drowned out constantly.
Man.
Maybe they know themselves too well, which is why they're running from it. But then other people, maybe you don't know yourself at all. And instead of going to find it, you found something else. You found a new distraction, new episode of this show, a new colorway with these sneakers, a new chick who just popped up at the job. Like, could be anything, bro. But like, God bless those of us who know our why.
Yeah.
It's a bigger blessing than we give it credit for, especially when you have a chance to observe people who don't. You start realizing how blessed you are to have it.
Yeah, you just gave me another cup of gratitude to sit from today, because that's a powerful one. Is that sometimes I don't think we, even in this media space, give a lot of thought to that. In that, how is somebody processing all the things, and have they even taken the time to sit still? Do they have the kind of environment that supports that self-reflection, or have they created pretty much a larger prison where they're surrounded by everything possible, from screens to distractions, from assistance, from just an environment that does not support going within, but an environment that says, look at me. And then, that's not even counting people in the entourage. I think what would help for me is I moved away to somewhere, a city I had never lived before. My grandparents had lived out here, and I knew at some point I wanted to come out here, move my family out here. And I had a family. And the humbling thing was, that's what really matters. Right? Like that's the only thing that matters. When I was able to say no to things that 20-year-old me would have wanted to fight me for saying no to, I feel like I got my power back. And I feel like that's also the appeal of independence for a lot of folks. My audience is DIYers. And the appeal is, when I was in that traditional industry system, especially as a producer, dog, never forget getting me and my mama my family's getting evicted from Rancho. I'm trying to come up with extra money selling beats. I get a placement with Glasses Malone and Mac 10s, my first placement ever. And I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna have a check for it. Check didn't come on time because of them not spelling my name correctly. And then it dawned on me, damn, I'm waiting on a middleman of a middleman of a middleman to give an okay to relay the words back to the middleman of the middleman of the middleman to tell me the day I'll get paid. Something about that just did not feel as independent as my spirit is. But that's the word to me. That's the appeal of the time we're living in right now. Is so special. If hip hop is really going back underground, What opportunities come with that shift for independent artists and thinkers, in your opinion?
The same ones that have always been there, honestly. The same ones that have always been there. I think culturally we have an opportunity to create a new standard, to create a new bar, to reorganize ourselves in a way where we inject merit, where we inject integrity. I think there's an opportunity to make these things necessary. Like you cannot, you must be this tall to ride the ride kind of thing. Like we have a chance to put some boundaries, to put some rules. Because if we're reshuffling the deck, then we get to say which cards, end up in it. And you can cut the jokers out completely if you want. You can get rid of the, this bullshit and that bullshit. And
no more unnecessary evils. Is that what you're telling me? No more necessary evils. We come on, man. We
can get rid of some of them.
I'll say it again.
We can get rid of some of them.
We get rid of some of them. Yeah.
We can get rid of. We can. First of all, we can sift out the people who want to be here, from the people who don't. We have an opportunity to kind of filter out a lot of the fuck shit. We can take off this extra weight and kind of get this out of here, kind of get that out of here. And I don't think we have to do much to do it. I think the people who don't belong are going to tell on themselves.
Yeah, I think they're going to doing it all. Damn it, have they not been doing it on all online? I am surprised at the things that people are saying publicly as if this is not going to be forever. And the types of, like, even during the battle, which I've shifted from doing all kind of content, but even during the battle, hearing the words in response to Kendrick's music, don't nobody want to hear that Harriet Tubman music, that slave music from fans of hip hop. You mean to tell me there's a right wing, like racist conservative branch? There's a hip hop MAGA. Are you telling me there's a hip hop?
I'm gonna tell you exactly what you did wrong. I'm gonna tell you exactly what you did wrong. You labeled them fans of hip hop. And they're not.
They're fans of an artist. You're right.
These are rap fans. These are not hip hop fans.
Yeah. You're right.
These are rap fans, and that's something else. As we start making this pilgrimage back to where we came from, this is something else that we can implement. This is another standard that we can pay. You are a fan of rap. You are a fan of the industry. You are not a hip hop head. You are not one of us, and we know it, and everybody knows it. And you told on yourself just by the shit you said. When you start beefing with me about, and I say this guy is dope. He's dope. The bars are crazy. The melodies are nuts. The hooks are super easy to. Oh my God, he's fire. And you say to me, ain't nobody heard of him. How many records did he sell? What's his sales? What's his first week numbers?
Get his ass out the barbershop. What does he do? Whose homie is this?
Thank you for telling on you. Thank you for letting me know who you are, bro. I heard that talk when I was at the Source.
Really?
I heard from guys in charge, and I've been in the Source in 2 different eras. So please believe it wasn't one, it was the other. But my second spin, I remember when we were about, I don't even know how much of this I can say. I'm trying to think of, if I say this, who will get in trouble behind it. We were going to put a very new, very promising, very dope at the time artist on the cover of the Source. He was going to get the cover. And he was cleaning shit up back then.
Yeah.
He's huge now. He's a megastar rapper now, but back then he was just getting started, and a handful of people. Shout out to Kazim. You see him on 7 p.m. in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
Kaz had the vision early. He saw it, and I heard the first mixtape, and then I saw it, And I was like, okay, no, I'm rocking with you. This is the wave. And Kaz was full gun ho about getting it popping. I was on my way out of the source by then.
Mm-hmm.
And ownership told him, no, we're not putting this guy on the cover because he ain't sold no records yet. And that is ownership of the source. And that has been a microcosm of my experience ever since. I've seen that play out, that same scenario play out hundreds of times, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Ownership, the people in charge, the people whose priority, if it's not one, it should be 1A, is safeguarding this culture because they put themselves in those positions. The source was definitely a business, but it was a cultural landmark. And when you take on that job, you have to keep both of those things in mind. You got to keep the lights on, and you can never turn the lights off on the culture. And this person who was in charge completely was like, nah, we ain't putting him on the cover. He ain't sold no records yet. And we did not. They did not put him on the cover.
See, and without even having to know it, I just know it's somebody, like you say, he's a megastar. I can already tell by the way you're describing that of how, like, that's something that's still stuck with you all this time. It's like, y'all said no to that situation, and now how's that looking? I'll say this. I do think the irony of all that is two things. One, I was told that a million times when maneuvering around in the music industry, more so as a producer, about, there's business and there's a separation from the art. And I understood the concept, but not until I got into business myself did I realize how much of an art form marketing can be, how much of an art form a rollout can be. And when you are figuring out, I had a marketing teacher tell me one time, he said, marketing is figuring out how to make my message most clear to the people that need to hear it. And something clicked. Simple definition. Something clicked. And then I realized what was lacking is not an understanding of business in those scenarios, but a lack of creativity on the business end. Because once you figure out, like the people who are winning right now, when I think of the clips, who would have thought a 48-year-old rapper, 52-year-old rapper, hey, let's just throw them on a bunch of interviews. Let's have them talk very candidly about their journey in making music. And let's throw them at the Vatican and let's do some music videos and it'll be nominated for Rap Album of the Year. Who would have thought that system? You can't give that to somebody who doesn't know what to do with that, who's not thinking in the sense of, okay, this is what we have. Now let's figure out the plan around that to support it the best way we know how. And that's when I realized a lot of that stuff is a cop-out, that the idea that, it's just business, and, the business is business. Well, no, business can be that forward thinking as well, and as creative as a creative process in its own realm.
Facts. But let me challenge you with something.
Sure.
And this goes back to, we'll take it back a few ways in a little bit in the conversation. This is something we covered before. I could have taken that exact same marketing plan, like the whole rollout. I could have taken that exact same thing, throw it on the wrong set of rappers, and watch it burst into fucking flames and go.
Oh, yeah. You
dig what I'm saying? You seeing where I'm coming from? The art had to be what it was.
That's the bottom line.
It had to fit them. It wouldn't have worked on somebody else. That's what I keep trying to explain to these cats, even the people I consult with. What worked for the clips might not have worked for Red and Meth. Like, I'm not, I'm just throwing
I get what you're saying.
those names out. But you have to understand, the clips are a story. They're a brand. They're a whole. They represent an era. There's a time, and the skill set had to be. You had to, and here's where the two ends meet. The creative marketing, the business aspect of it, had to be creative enough to be tailored for this act.
Yes,
coming out at this time with this specific album, these specific beats produced by this specific person. It all had, and the problem is, because it won, you have a lot of non-creative executives who are now just going to try and mimic that road for any and everybody that they want to see pop.
Right. Not understanding that, like you said, all those factors mean a thing. Like both
Not
those
just not understanding, not caring. They won't
not
care.
caring. They don't even care. They don't even
Don't
care.
care.
Jesus.
It's one
I mean, like,
size fits all.
can I ask you this, and kind of a challenge, but if their bottom line is to make money, even because I've seen the system, the quote unquote system, I've seen them put the same kind of money behind artists that you're like, damn, I never would have thought, a De La Soul would have had this push early on. Like, even the idea of seeing Fresh Prince and NWA on the same tour back in the 90s. I was reading a Michael Eric Dyson book where they talked about that. There's been times where that same machine will use that and put that in the favor of something that's not necessarily the other thing. My thing is, if you see that this thing is working as a businessman, why wouldn't you want to set up this investment to win, even if it's details that you're not, you don't care about? We'll hire the people that do care. I see it in politics all the time. Like, I don't think Trump be caring about 90% of the shit he be talking about, but he has people around him that can like give some kind of point of view to it. Not always the best, but somebody who's like, just talk to him. He'll give you more details, and it's a beautiful, beautiful bill. Like, he knows, like, but I'm trying to figure out what's the business strategy in that and not caring, because how do these folks even become millionaires and billionaires? By not caring about the product, at least it making money. I don't they care about the money.
The product is art. They don't care about the art. They just keep copying the method. You're asking why not just blah 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 blah, because we've cultivated an environment where the art is not important. So there's always somebody willing to go into. There's always some B-level C-list celebrity. There's always a club ready to let in a C-list celebrity, right? Always. So you have the and don't get it fucked up. There are people at the label who know, yo, we need to call this guy. Like, this is the guy to go get for this specific act that we're trying to break. I know because I've been that guy. I've gotten that call. Mecc, we need you to come in here for this specific thing that we're trying to do, because this act that we have that either they have their own money or we're willing to invest in this. We think this could be big, but it's the kind of thing we can't really handle. So, we don't really know how to put this together. Mecc, we need you to come in here and please, like, get a couple other people and pull up and put this together for us the right way. I've gotten that call. I've gotten that call. I've been that guy. What I'm telling you is that call is coming through less and less and less on that side, because they're not even signing the kind of acts that the clips represent. They're not even they're not on that kind of time. Hence why I believe we're going back towards the underground, because those kind of acts are thriving in spite of label assistance. With lack of label assistance, lack of label enthusiasm, lack of label encouragement, all the apathy coming from the big boys and all the bullshit that's coming down from the top and lawsuits and all this nonsense, I'm still seeing really, really fire artists thriving and getting attention and making waves and creating trends and really lighting shit up. I'm not none of this surprises me, because I've seen it before. It's just a matter but I've never seen it I've never seen the labels in this much trouble at the same time that artists are thriving. It's normally been one or the other. Either like artists are thriving and the label builds a better mousetrap to get in front of it.
A better mousetrap. Oh, that's a bar. That's a bar. That's it right there. That's it. Yeah.
They build a better, remember South by Southwest?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Where's that now?
I started knowing when everything started shifting more and more out of the part that was accessible for free, and then you couldn't even get into certain places unless you went through the actual. I said, "Oh, we're turning this into this." There was. I had my one chance, and had I had the money, I would have probably did it with my dumb ass. I could have saw Andre 3000 doing an improv, a pop-up set at one of these bars down there. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know if he's playing the flute or if he's rapping. Don't matter. That's my favorite rapper. But they wanted like $150 $150 something dollars, and it was like the tiniest venue you could think of. And I'm like, I wasn't trying to do that for how long he gonna be there? Probably about 30 minutes. I mean, like, when I started going that direction, so what's the okay? So what do you say? What's the quiet power part for the people who are not understanding what happened with South by Southwest?
It was invaded by corporate. Labels began buying stages, and they built a better mousetrap to get in front of it. They made it so that you creating a core fan base where you didn't need them, which is LaRussell's model, which is Russ's model. You create your core fan base. That was one way. I know artists who literally thrived off the strength of South by Southwest. Like a good show, a good set. Anybody who knows, if you remember, a good set at South by Southwest could carry you through the year with other shows because you lit shit up so bad. You're selling merch, you're selling this, you're selling that.
Especially in the blog era.
Yeah, forget it.
Yeah, blog era. If you had a good, like everybody heard about it. It went to Two Dope Boys, it went to Hip Hop DX, DJ Booth, and all these different places. If you killed it, that video, like that's what happened with Tyler in The Odd Future.
Yep.
Right? When they had the mosh pits at South by Southwest, that video went every single place you could think of. And that's when we were in more of a monoculture at that time too, right? Where we're all looking at the same blogs, we're listening the same drops and the same songs. But yeah, that South by Southwest era was something special at that point in time, because like you said, that might be your next tour dates for the next year because of what you did there.
Yep. There was another one. I'll do you one better. The college radio.
Yeah.
That showcase. There was a show. It used to come to New York. They'd be here for like a couple of days. I can't remember the name of the showcase now, just because I want to. Have we not been talking about?
I know what you're talking about, because that's the one that you had to get. It was a process. Like you couldn't just pop up on there, right? Wasn't that the one that
you had to be like, it was almost like South by in a way, but like the college radio station DJs would be there. You perform in front of them. They dug it. Now there's a whole college circuit that you can run.
Was it CMJ?
CMJ.
shout out to a Quietilian. There you go. There it is. CMJ.
CMJ could change your life. You did not need a label. You became that artist at the venue with a line around the corner, people waiting to see you perform, and somebody look up at the marquee and don't recognize whose name that is. But there's a whole list of college students who've been dying for you to pull up, and that's off the strength of CMJ. And the labels managed to get in front of that. They managed to get in front of. They build a better mousetrap. So what I'm saying is, they had the money, they had the resources. CMJ. South by Southwest, they just started buying stages. Now you can't, like you said, now you can't come in here without a wristband, because they brought the stage for the night. They brought the next couple of stages. They brought one over here, and now they're only showcasing their artists. Yeah. So now the other ones who could get in, labels have perfected the art of jumping in front of whatever could secure an artist's future outside of their reach. What I'm seeing now is, because we have so many tech bros buying into the industry and buying into the labels, because it's so much tech and not so much art, they don't know that, they don't really know how to get in front of this. They figure they got it all monopolized. You gotta pull up to AC3, all three coasts. Yes, that one too.
AC3 is another one I got.
See, people know. This is what I'm talking about. People know. But labels manage to get their hands in it. But what I'm seeing now is, because there's so many tech bros buying in, and because it's technology, and because all aspects seem to be tied in, as far as like Spotify and all the DSPs and all this other places. And I'm not saying you can't go play in those spaces. Absolutely not. But make no mistake, the labels don't have the iron grip that they used to, right? 40% drop in sales across the board.
Man, yeah,
No
yeah.
rap, no rap on the charts. Hey, we're not selling this shit anymore. Oh, word? Okay, well, no more investing money to get them on the charts. That's the next move. The
Yeah.
40% drop in sales. We get rid of a whole bunch of motherfuckers who are at the label. We consolidate all this shit. One person is now working 4 separate jobs or 5 separate jobs because we fired 4 other people. And the tech is doing a lot of the shit that these people used to do. And we don't need this guy to go to that place. We don't need this woman to go to that spot. There's no more hands-on. There's no more this. There's no more that. The talent was already bad. Now you've gotten rid of the people who could at least streamline the process and get the talent some kind of presentable way. Now you've gotten rid of them because who gives a fuck about art? We're just moving product. And as a result, the artists are now finding ways to thrive because the same technology is available for everybody and the labels can't buy the internet. You can't buy the internet, and people are after the good shit. And here we now, Mecc Rashawn does a freestyle on Chinatown Sounds. The whole world can go see it, and they do, and pop by Mecca's page, and they look at what he did. And then Mecc Rashawn did something at Sirius Satellite. The whole world got to see that. The labels didn't stop that from happening.
Yeah. In essence, it's almost like you are able to have a South by. We went from sacrificing the week of South by Southwest to now we can have South by Southwest at home. Remember, the old joke, mama be like, Mama, I want some McDonald's. We got McDonald's at home. Now essentially, and it's funny because I had this thought earlier too, Mecc, where I'm like, as effed up as this time is when you bring in the conversation of AI music and the way that these companies are moving predatory, like, I think it's interesting that here we are now sharing panels. Here we are now having these type of conversations in public forums. I just left the conversation before ours where it was Mickey Fax and Glasses Malone talking about, where did hip hop shift in terms of being prioritizing sales over. I'm like, the fact that we're even having this is having like Rap City on my phone, a new episode of Rap City on my phone. I think about conversations we're having and I'm like, this is like an episode of Teen Summit that I would have watched going after school, except now we get to dictate the program, the length of the program, the type of subjects we talk about. There's no sponsors telling us what we can or cannot talk about. It's a pretty fire time when you think of it from that perspective, because I'm like, if hip hop is indeed, not hip hop, but if rap is indeed going back home after she's been abused in that limelight the way that she has and been used by everybody, then it's a really fire time to be somebody who's a curator or just a creator in this time. I got one more question for you, man. I got to give you your props and round of applause. The gems. I knew it was going to happen.
Hey, Curtis.
I say, huh?
We're the new adults.
Say it again.
We're the new adults.
We're the new adults. Oh, wow.
You talk about 106 in Park, and you talk about Teen Summit. Remember the people who used to sit up on the panel at Teen Summit and the host who used to hold the mic? Well, that's us now, bro.
That's us. That's a scary thought because that's what Andre. I told you about Andre 3000 being my favorite rapper, and a thought came to me. Your favorite rapper's not gonna make your favorite album, Curtis. Like that responsibility is on you, not to be 3 stacks because it can only 3 stacks. It's on you to go and fill the voids that enjoying a project like that would. You have the capability of it. You have wherewithal. You have the information. Now go make it. That's a crazy place to put yourself in when you're genuinely still a hip hop fan and hip hop head, no matter how much you contribute. But that's such a real thing. Last question I got for you is this one, man. So what would you say? Because there's a lot of independent artists in here, a lot of artists, singers, DIYers, producers. What would you say to them who are trying to preserve the integrity of the craft in an era where it seems like attention spans rule and AI is abundant? What would be your advice to them who want to preserve that integrity and especially as everything starts to shift back underground?
It starts and stops with you. It starts and stops with you. You ain't got to stand tall, but if you love this thing, you got to stand up. You can't be quiet. You can't go quiet. Even if you ain't got the best voice, find somebody who's saying the shit you want said and throw your support behind them. But you can't go quiet. You cannot let silence is compliance.
Yeah.
If you are quiet, if you are not throwing your weight behind what you believe in, you are full of shit. And don't expect anybody to see anything else. Your why is going to become transparent in your ways. I'll say that again. Your why will become transparent in your ways.
Whew.
It can't be anything else. And I can only talk about what I do.
Mm-hmm.
As we start making this move and as this thing shifts around, if you don't know what integrity is, look it up and make sure you got some, because integrity is quickly going to become a currency. If this thing shakes the way I see it going, and it fucking should, because everything else we've used for currency has led us to where we are now.
Well, you think about how accessible things are, and I would love to have this conversation with you in another live stream. But when you think about how accessible mediocrity has become, how celebrated mediocrity has been, the low hanging fruit is more accessible than it's ever been. As easily accessible as it's ever been, and it's so easy for people to go the opposite direction of things that integrity requires, right? Things that discipline requires, especially when, people can see you do the wrong thing and still be like, people are doing it. But there are those smaller percentages of people. I include myself, of course. I know that's you and your spirit, but there are people who care about this and prioritize this, and the results are different. So whenever I see something with your name attached, whenever I see something that you're bringing to the forefront in a mechanism Monday, I'm all ears, because I'm knowing that how much thought went into that and how much you're kind of absorbent of all these things around you. And how easy it could be, because people are taking the easy route and they're frustrated saying, well, why is that not getting the same thing as this? Well, that person has actual talent that they worked on. They have an actual dedication to a craft, and you can't shortcut that. You can't prompt your way there. Like, you have to do, you should want to do the work that comes along with that. But man, we 1,000% salute you and appreciate your time here today and all the game. Where can people reach out to you, especially all the independent artists in here who may want to get a coaching call with you and want to get and absorb some of this wisdom?
I tell everybody to just pull up on my gram. I normally post. Okay, let me say this the right way. I take on a certain amount of artists that I try to help every week. Mm-hmm. When those come in and those confirmations come in, I stop taking any emails, or I stop posting about taking anything until I get done with the batch that I have. I don't like to overwhelm myself, and I like to give everybody enough time. As I'm doing the one-on-ones, I like to give everybody a fair amount of time. I don't want you to get off the line with me until you feel you've gotten all your questions answered. So I don't take on more than I can handle. So the post won't always be there. It's like, you ever see those 24-hour stores and it says open 24 hours, and then they cut the light off, and that means that they're closed?
Right.
I do that shit. I do that shit. I'm always here. Here's my email. But when you don't see me post, that means that shit is done until I get done with this batch of folks. But
once again, that's you practicing what you preach too, right? And that's something I have to realize is, like, I did a lot of producer content over the years where I'm telling people to get sleep, and I'm telling them to take care of their body, and mental health is important. And I'm delivering this from the thickest bags under my eyes. And like, I mean well, but there's a difference between say what I do, say what I say, and not what I do. So in that, I think it's important that they see you practicing the boundaries that are necessary to maneuver in a space like this, because God bless the people who are hypersensitive getting in this space and thinking that this industry or this environment is going to adjust to your feelings and what you want. Because meanwhile, there's somebody who is eating your lunch and kicking your ass and are not as easily offended, and they're just looking for the next piece of advice that can lead them to the next direction.
And God bless them both. God bless the sensitive, soft ass nigga. God bless the chiseled out of fucking stone nigga. God bless all of them. Why? Because we need each other. Go ahead and let the sensitive dude come in here so we get one more person to fuck out the paint. Let him come on in.
God bless the sensitive ass nigga is a bar. I'm gonna need to get somebody get that. Somebody go ahead and put that in my notes so I get that tatted. God bless the sensitive ass niggas. That's crazy. That's a lot of love right there.
We can get him the fuck out of here. You don't belong here. You was in the wrong room. Let's get you the fuck out of here. Why don't you come on in?
Yeah.
Taste this sauce so it burns your lips off and gives you the shits for another week and a half. So you know never to come back in here into this kitchen again. And then let's go get the dude who this really belongs to. The dude who can really handle this. The dude who's really built for this. Like I'm all for trial by fire and filters. I'm all for the filters. Like this is the why right here.
As a musician, this is the highest compliment you can receive from another musician. Facts.
This is it. This is it. This is it.
Yeah.
When I spit some and I get nigga, oh shit, it's up. It's up. That's what I'm talking about. Let's do it again. God bless the person who can't handle not getting that face for both reasons. If you can't handle not getting that face, some of them are going to go harder. Some of them are going to go home. And I'm here for all of it. As long as that face is the bar. Is the bar. Let that separate the boys from the men. I'm with it. I'm with it.
Yeah.
Tony damn it. I'm nuts.
I love it. Tony Robbins had a quote. He said, "Life is always happening for you and not to you." And that's a mantra. I'll die on that mountain. Is that everything, no matter how crazy and bad it looks, ultimately this is for your benefit or for the benefit of your growth or your evolution or your maturity, whatever it is. I may not always want it at the time, but it's for the benefit of the overall plan. Man, we got to get one more round of applause. Amazing conversation. I can't thank you enough. Hey man, and don't threaten me with a good time. Before we got on here, he said, yeah, Curtis, man, we need to work on something. So you want to work on something? Work on some music, man. Let's work on some music then. Say less.
I ain't threaten you with I ain't bullshitting, nigga. Like, yo, we all need to. I get a beat.
Easy. Get a beat. I'll make something today. What are we talking about?
Yeah, get it. No, fuck. Make something over a couple of days. Get something.
Okay, let's do that then. I'll do that then too. No, that's easy.
Get a casserole. Put some fly shit together, and let's air it out. We'll go 16 and 16. Let's air it out. Let's just get at it.
I'm with that. Well, DIY. Yeah, well, that's happening. That's gonna happen. That's easy. That's easy. Especially now in the space I'm in. The message I've been having over the last week, especially on Instagram, is I went through a health issue over the last 6 months, and I didn't know how much of this was just turning 40 or how much of this was something a little bit deeper at the surface. And here I am going through this whole damn crisis in my brain thinking like, damn, I can't remember my talking points on videos. I'm sitting here with lyrics. Shit's taking so long. I'm watching the artists I bring through here 15, 20 minutes. And I'm like, hey, what is going on with me? Like, I used to be able to get these ideas pretty fluidly, and I was so in my head. And then I realized I was having brain fog, a little bit of a depression. Come to find out, I had vitamin D deficiency. Wow. And all that. Because I'm telling you, I went back to my Jay-Z Decoded book. I was going back to okay, maybe I just got to relearn the process, because I heard LL Cool J say it. He said he had to relearn how to rap at a certain age. I said, maybe this is the place that I do that. But I was really being the same judgmental in my head. And it was a terrible place to be. I tell you, stepped up the vitamin D vitamins, got the K2 vitamins, got the magnesium, got all these different things, fish oil. my energy, have not needed coffee, and my energy has never been as good, and my creative energy thrives off of that, especially as a father and a husband. Like we are the center of the energy of our homes. Like how our mood goes, the rest of the house goes. It's what I realized. So
all right, everybody.
yeah.
Anybody who listened, I just want you to know that was Curtis's nice way of telling me he's about to bust my ass on this track.
No, that's not what that is. That
That's
means
all I
Curtis.
heard.
That
That's
means Curtis is
all I
not
heard.
dealing with. No, that means Curtis ain't dealing with no imposter syndrome. When you send something, and I'm sitting here like, he don't even know. It took me all the time it took me to write the song I just put out. But now, I'm in such a good place that I'm like,
this nigga about to line me up, y'all. That's all I heard. This
nigga's
lining me up. That's all I heard. All this
no,
just
you know what? You know what my version of lining you up was? I'm finna put more New York Knicks players in my bars. I'm finna talk about Latrell Sprewell, Allen Houston, Chris Childs. I don't like the way Chris Childs punched on Kobe like that. I never liked that. You know, that wasn't nice. That wasn't nice. What was that all about? Huh? Not you holding. Say no more. Say no more. That's it. That's it.
I don't know what the fuck you think I'm gonna do.
I'm putting Patrick Ewing in these bars. Who else?
Right.
Man, I salute you, and I can't thank you enough for your time today, man. This is an absolute pleasure.
We're gonna run it back. Yeah. My the Mechanism podcast is the next move.
Okay. Yeah. Got exclusive.
Yeah, I'm moving back into that space. I'm doing whatever I'm good at, bro. So album coming, couple of dope projects. Yeah. Shout out to Rockweiler, shout out to Shiloh, shout out to Pete Rock, shout out to Knots. Like one time for the conglomerate, the whole conglomerate. Shout out to Busta Rhymes Spliff, the whole camp, the whole crew. Big things coming out of there as always, as always. Fucking with an icon, you can't lose. You know, and one time for all my folk, man. One time for Gat. Shout out to Gat Taylor. No more murder, Gat Taylor. And you know, we moving around, man. It's up. 2026. I'm making my preparations now to if I gotta cash out of here anytime, I'm going empty. So
same. Yeah. I love that. Leave here on empty. Man, I thank you once again, and everybody in here too, who's been sharing the in a dialogue, and make sure you like the video. Make sure that you share it with anybody that you know. Especially, I don't mind if you clip stuff up. Go ahead and do what you do. Just make sure the messages get out there and they properly are credited. I appreciate your time. I'll get these timestamps up here soon. Mecc, I appreciate your time once again.
Every time, King. Every time. Say when.
All right.